Stop hodling and start spending some of your sats. It's time to get over this whole hodl and hoard vibe that's going on in Bitcoin, the store of value, and start getting back to the electronic cash system that Satoshi first designed. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to this podcast. If you clicked on it and come onto it, I know that you are someone who cares about your money, your financial future, and you want to grow your money into something that can save your spending power in the future so you don't have to work until you're 150. And if someone sent this to you, they really like you, they want to connect with you, they want to share this with you, and maybe they've already watched it and they want to discuss with you some of the points that we talk about in this podcast. And I believe if you listen to this and maybe just a couple of other of the podcasts that we make, you will be more educated on Bitcoin and the financial future than 99% of the people out there, not just normal people, but wealth advisors and financial advisors. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let's get into it for this week. If you have been in Bitcoin for any number of time, even more than just a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you will have heard the phrase stack sats, which is really hard for me to say because I'm doing this in Invisalign teeth thing, so anything with too many S's, stack stats, stop spending your Bitcoin. It's really hard for me to say. But you've heard them say stack sats, hodl, don't spend your Bitcoin, keep it, save it for the future, it's a store of value. And trust me, I've been hodling since 2012. I did spend a little bit in between because I didn't understand Bitcoin, but I'm pretty much hodling and stacking sats for a very long time now. So I am fully on that whole vibe, but there has to be a time where we look at Satoshi's vision for what Bitcoin is. And if you're just stacking sats the whole time, we're slightly missing that. So that's what we're going to get into this week. Why you should be spending your sats and maybe having a way of topping up those sats and not just hoarding the whole time, because I think that will have a detrimental effect on the growth of Bitcoin and the expansion of the network, and also will affect its ability to be a store of value if we don't ever spend any of our Bitcoin. So here we are. If you are listening to this, I've got the white paper up here, and at the top of the white paper it says Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So it's right there for everyone to see. And the abstract, the introduction to the white paper, says a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. It's Satoshi's vision for Bitcoin that it would be used between different people to send money to each other, to send value to each other. And if we don't use Bitcoin as a transfer mechanism to pay for stuff between each other, then Bitcoin does just become digital gold, digital property, digital real estate, which it is. That is part of what Bitcoin is, and you hear people citing that as a store of value the whole time, and I use Bitcoin as my primary store of value. I don't have a lot of money in other things. I have some property, but most of my net worth is a store of value in Bitcoin. But if we don't spend with it, then that's what it is. It never becomes a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And I think that for someone who's been in Bitcoin for a long time, who have a reasonable stack of Bitcoin, there's a responsibility for us to use it as a payments mechanism. And I have only really recently started doing this. So I'm not trying to judge anyone or tell you that anyone's doing the wrong thing by stacking it and storing it and saving it. But I have recently started using some of my Bitcoin. And that happened recently at a Bitcoin meetup I went to in Clapham. And I'll just show you this video and describe what's been happening here. Okay, so the lady behind the till saying, can she do some shopping with me and I'll fight over her bill? And I said, yeah, cool, as long as I'm paying in Bitcoin, because I really think, so there I am, I've made the payment there, you'll see. Just scanned the QR code, his QR code, I scanned it with my phone, paying £8 something, and just waiting for the payment to go through, usually a bit quicker than this, but there you go, it's gone through now, and that's it. There we go. That was just to show you, sorry if you're listening to this on audio only, but it's me making a payment using a thing called the Lightning Network, which is a really fast way of making small Bitcoin payments at a meetup, so you can see how quickly Bitcoin payments can happen. And I loved it. It was so great to be able to use the Bitcoin network and actually pay for something, particularly at a meetup. So here are 4 reasons why I think that we should start spending our Bitcoin and using it as a payments mechanism and not just as a store of value. The first reason is because it completes the loop. You get into Bitcoin, you understand that it's a way to save money and increase your spending power in the future. You get into it because of the number go up technology. It starts this loop, but eventually it has to complete the loop. And the way you complete it is you spend your Bitcoin. And if you don't spend your Bitcoin, we're never going to complete the circular economy of Bitcoin. And part of that circular economy is the second reason, which is it provides independence. And it shows that every transaction doesn't need a middleman in between. We don't need the banks, we don't need institutions, we don't need credit card companies to be able to transact and interact with each other, and for me to do a job for you and you to pay me for that job. Like, I don't need a bank for someone to send me some sats on here. If you want to send me some sats, go ahead, you can go for it. I don't need anyone in between that. We don't need anyone in between that. And we definitely don't need people adding their percentages on for those services. Now, what Bitcoin has done is it's got rid of the middleman. Now, let me give you an example. If you use traditional banking methods or you use credit cards and you are a business, if you run a business, you'll know this for sure. If you don't, I used to run a business. I had a card machine where I take payments from my customers, and those card machines took 2%. And I think I had quite a good one. It was like 2.1%, but that's actually a reasonable fee. It can be up to 3%. I think some could be down to 1.8% now, but it's still on average 2%. And if you're doing around $30,000 a month, or £30,000 a month in sales, that will equal $600 in fees per month. And obviously that's a lot every year. Now, if you're the same business and you're using Bitcoin via the Lightning Network, which sits on top of Bitcoin, basically Bitcoin for the sake of this conversation, the Lightning Network is the fast method that I just showed you now. You could be paying as low as 87 cents for the whole $30,000 month. That's crazy. $600 down to 87 cents. You can't believe there'll be such a difference. And then it makes you realize how much these credit card companies are taking just to be the middleman. Obviously, there are some other things that could be involved there. So you have to do some cash out fees if you want to cash out into fiat. But still, it's going to be pretty low and nowhere near $600 a month. That's the second reason. It provides independence, or it proves independence. The third reason is it separates money from government. I don't think that the government should necessarily be the issuer of money. It's only really us and our grandparents, maybe our great-grandparents, that were under the impression that money was issued by the government. This is not how it's always been. This is very different to how it's always been. Normally, there will be a separation between those things. Just like there's a separation between church and state. The church and the state shouldn't be meddling with each other. They should be able to carry on with their religion without the government telling them what to do. Just like language develops naturally. Slang language, street language, new language, old language gets phased out. The government don't really meddle in that. That happens naturally with the people. It should also happen with the law. The way that the law is tested between two different people who may disagree over something, and this person will be saying this and this person will be saying that, and it will get tested by a jury or by a judge. That should develop naturally without the government intervening too much in the legal system in that way, or deciding who goes to jail and who doesn't go to jail. That should be to do with slightly separate from the state. The state shouldn't be able to just bang people up in jail without there being any kind of system that the public participate in. And I believe that money should be similar to that. So that's the third reason that we should start using Bitcoin as money, because we should separate it from institutions and from government. The fourth thing is it normalizes adoption. You can buy stuff with it, it makes it normal. You can tip people with it, it makes stuff normal. Or you can pay wages in Bitcoin, it makes stuff normal and natural. The more it's used, the more people get used to it, the more adoption will go up. Pretty much everywhere I go, if I'm having a conversation with the person where I'm paying and I say, can I pay with cash or with a card? They say, oh, yeah, we don't take cash. And I'll be like, oh, do you take Bitcoin? And then pretty much always ends up with the conversation about Bitcoin because it increases adoption. And just everywhere I go, I try and encourage businesses. And I haven't managed to get a business to start taking Bitcoin yet. But if a few people do that, eventually they'll be like, oh, maybe I should start taking this Bitcoin thing. Look, if we just sit on Bitcoin, the big boys win, the fat cats win. Nothing ever changes. If we just keep hold of it, we just get richer, and we never create a system where you're able to transact in Bitcoin, because hopefully one day all transactions will take place in Bitcoin. But it's not suddenly going to happen when Bitcoin hits $1 million or $10 million if we haven't started the ecosystem going already. And what I would say to Bitcoiners who are like, just hodl, bro, just hodl, don't spend your sats, because, you know, there's Pizza Day guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin on a pizza, and, you know, it's the most expensive thing that anyone's ever bought. Fine, cool. Like, I understand that. I don't want to spend my Bitcoin because I want to keep it. I want to increase my spending power as I grow up and as I get older. As I grow up, I feel like, when am I going to grow up? I don't know. But as I grow older, I want my spending power to increase. And I understand that some people don't want to spend it. They're trying to stack sats. But what I'm saying is, you're going to spend money on stuff anyway. So what I do is I top up. I buy Bitcoin. I'm buying Bitcoin pretty regularly anyway. But when I'm going to spend some Bitcoin, I just put like $100 into my Lightning wallet from my main Bitcoin wallet, and then I'll top it up later, like, you know, a couple of days later, or if I see the price drop, I'll just top that Bitcoin up. And that is the way that we should do it, because if we never ever spend it, we're never going to find a way to use our actual wealth in the future to spend on stuff, because we're going to always have to exit to fiat. And that's what I don't think we should do. I don't think you should sell your Bitcoin to buy stuff yet. I don't think we're in that kind of world at this stage, but we should definitely start using it to do transactions with each other. And sending it costs almost nothing. It gets rid of the middleman. Spending Bitcoin is freedom in action. And if you believe in Bitcoin, don't just hold it, spend it.